Got it. Oh, you know what we haven't done in a while? Hold your ears, everybody. Hold your ears. Oh, that's a good intro. Wait, that's a good intro. Hang on. We're gonna give you the solo screen to show off this thing, and then we'll come back to why it all revolves around me somehow. Wait, wait, let me give you the screen.
Yeah.
All right, you're going solo.
What?
Da-da. Show him the Titan. Show him the Titan.
Oh, okay.
No one even knows we're live. Oh gosh, that thing is so cool. Okay, so you said this is your interpretation of a scheme of a legion. What legion is that? Yeah,
The
keep spinning
Legio
it.
Krytos, the God Breakers.
What's their like kind of story or whatever?
They're just a bunch of badasses that really hate buildings.
Okay.
They go in for basically destroying fortifications, buildings, whatever. Um, they're a siege force,
Okay.
and they don't like anything smaller than them. They're quite contentious. But yeah, they are just well. It's mainly because, like, unlike Alex's lovely War Master there in its Mortis colours, I can't willingly do Mortis because of my loyalties to Legio Ignite.
I get
So
you're torn. Your
yeah,
gamer heart is torn. I get it.
yeah. So when I was thinking what traitor Legio I was going to do, there was the Legio Furians I liked, which are the yellow ones with the black flames. But I didn't fancy painting yellow, and everybody seemed to be doing Legio Furians at the start. Them and Mortis,
Yeah.
basically.
I remember
So
even
I
maybe
didn't
you
want to be,
talked about that. I remember that. Like Furions, a lot of people you
yeah,
said were picking them or something.
yeah. So lots of people were doing them. So I just thought, no, I'll go elsewhere. And I just thought, once I heard that Krytos were in there, and their name is the God Breakers, which is the most heavy metal name
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of a
That's
Legio.
an old school 40K. Um,
The Loyalists of
where did
Metallica,
you where
God
did you
Breakers.
first hear of this? Do you remember Faction? Because you're more tuned into it than me, but I was just like wondering, was it like did it come out more recently or older or what?
Yeah, it was at a well, the Horus Heresy weekend of one of the last ones, I think. So 2018, I think they were mentioned maybe because they were mentioned in there, like they showed off some art on the Adeptus Titanicus, like
Okay.
semi, and they said, "Oh, this is the Legio Krytos, otherwise known as the God Breakers," and like people just like started murmuring, "Oh,
Oh, nice.
cool name."
Okay.
Um, but yeah, they actually Legio Krytos appear in the Talon series of heresy books by
Okay.
John French, and they're like one of the main sort of Titan Legios that are mentioned during the Battle of Talon, because they're just going around scouring and blowing stuff
Okay.
up as well they do. Um, yeah, that's their thing, you know.
And then so you like it was funny. I looked at it and I said that was probably one of between, just like how striking that model is, and then maybe I have a bias. I don't even what's weird is I love in some ways like the concept of like these like a white model, you know what I mean? Like the white miniatures when they're painted or the scheme. But as like an artist, it always doesn't have like I would say like a bright like a orange or whatever. It has more pop. So I'm always like torn which way I want to go. But like I see that one and I'm like, oh, that is just so perfect. I think that touch of gold is what really like it gives it that pop, and I just love that thing. And what did you say? You posted like your work in progress. You got 4,000 likes on it on Twitter?
No, not on, no, it was on Instagram.
On Instagram.
I get better numbers on Instagram
How many
with
followers you got now on Insta?
um, just over 2,500.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. How long have you been on Insta?
Well, a few years. On
Okay.
Twitter, I've only Twitter I was on and then came off, and then I lost my account because somebody else stole it.
Yeah.
So I started again January 2020, and I'm up to I think I'm just over 2,000 on that now.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I've been constantly on Instagram for at least 4-5 years, I think.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, it I like, obviously it's just photographs, so
Yeah.
you
Well,
do get
yeah,
some.
exactly. When it's yeah, it is a cool. It's weird how I don't surf it the same way I surf. I just don't use it the same, and I think like when I use Twitter, I think Instagram is more like browsing through someone's pictures, and Twitter is more like a little more communicating. And it's weird because I can just type a comment in the Instagram. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know, my brain, like, or maybe how it interfaces or whatever makes it just a little bit different in how I use it. Like, I'll like stuff in that on Instagram, but I don't use it the same way that I use Twitter. And that's, I don't know what made me think of that, but I just did because I was like, yeah, I don't interact the same way on them. Like as far as like I don't know. I guess because on Twitter you can just post like a tweet without really any pictures if you want and just be like, hey, so it's more like talking to someone to me.
Mm, yeah, it's weird how, like on Facebook, like I've been parts of several groups,
Mm-hmm.
well, loads of hobby groups over the course of my life there. But you do get a lot more sort of interaction, good and bad, on there.
Yeah.
Twitter, I haven't really had any bad experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, touch wood. Um, I think Instagram, I've had one sort of, not an argument, but it was
Yeah, yeah.
somebody was commenting about a color scheme that I'd done on one of my Titans, and because he'd painted the same Legio, but basically Forge World, the color schemes of certain Titan Legios might not be the same in the Heresy as they are in 40k.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
he's
because they
got
change
40k.
and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a 40k scheme of this particular Legio. I've painted my one. It was the Legio Ozidax, the cockatrices,
Oh,
um,
okay.
or cockatrice. Um, and he was saying, "Oh, the head's orange," and I'm like, I'm just copying what the Forge World artwork put up, and to
Yeah,
me, it looked more ready.
yeah,
Um, and I'm just like, you're sort of having a sort of a go at me, and I'm just copying what they've done from the
yeah.
official source. So yeah, um, yeah. So
We know you were right.
it's, so eventually, I just said like, okay, like maybe one day we'll meet up at Warhammer World and we'll have a drink, and whatever. But yeah, it was just like, with someone criticizing you for something you've done wrong, but then
Yeah,
you've done something where you've just copied the artwork. It just
yeah.
seemed, it bemused me.
On on this one, when you said you made like it was the paint scheme, but with some slight changes, where did you see the paint scheme?
Well, in Titan Death, which was one of the first sort of books
Yep.
that came out after the release of Adeptus Titanicus, which covers the campaign at Beta Garman, which is known as the Titan Death, because
Okay.
it was
That's
the
what you
last.
said, that huge one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically where it's the last port of call before the traitors would hit um, Terra, the solar
Yeah.
system. So it was a huge system. It has like several sort of systems within the system, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Peter Garman, um, you've got Theta Garman, and other Garments as well. So it's a huge area, and it was used as the staging point for the Great Crusade, because it was like commercially had like loads of docks, and they could build
Yep.
up all the fleets and then send them off from there. So at Beta Garmin, the war had been going there. You know, there's been fighting at Beta Garmin throughout most of the heresy, and it was a conscious decision that the loyalists said, like, we can't have all these Titan legios fighting in Terra on Terra.
Yeah.
But one Titan legio is bad enough.
Yeah, wreck like the whole planet just in
Yeah, so they
yeah.
sent a load of them out to Beta Garmin to sort of try and stop the
Yeah.
stuff from happening. But obviously, all the other traitor Titan legios started turning up, and it was just basically there was Astartes out there. There was Imperial Guard or Imperial
Oh,
Army.
it's the full on scale 40K apocalyptic battle, dude.
Yeah, yeah, like so many planets just got horrendously screwed over because when you're having Titan War going off on a regular basis,
Yeah.
it just obliterates everything. Um,
Like, gosh, wouldn't it be like, I don't know. In my mind, I guess it could be like a live action or like, I still see it as like a good animation, like almost that 3D merge animation. If you could really pull it off, they couldn't do it. My ultimate favorite would be like well done hand drawing in the 40K style of like the Titans and everything doing their stuff. And then like that scale of battle being visualized, you know what I mean? Like it would just be like so like what does that look like when you know how those Titans fire and then let alone just the vehicles and the foot troops and the different it's like what
yeah,
would that whole battle scene look like if you were like in a drone flying above it? It would just be so intense.
yeah, it's unimaginable because, like, you know, the Imperial Army in particular is like, you know, numberless. You know,
Yeah.
so many sort of soldiers kitted out, and then you've got
Yeah.
the Skitari for the Mechanicum running around and stuff like that. So huge numbers, and like with like Titan Legios, a reasonable sized Titan Legio is, you know, a small one's going to be about, well, I'd say about 60 engines in it.
Are you serious? That is what it like. So that's the thing when I think of a battle like that, I'm like, okay, you're not. There's no building you're gonna be safe in. There's no vehicle. There's no. You know what I mean, dude? It's like this huge thing. There's
Yeah,
just Titans and stuff everywhere. I'm like, dude, anywhere is fair game to get wiped out. You know? It's like, like it
yeah,
doesn't
it
matter if
is.
in your bunker or in your building or running in the field.
Yeah, but the other thing is like, you know, Titans can actually, like certain Titans, like the Warlords, have been known to shoot into orbit as well. So
Oh, really?
you're
Yeah.
not necessarily safe. You know, big ships going to take a
Yeah,
lot
if
of
you get a
damage,
little
but
too close, they can. Yeah,
a little too
interesting.
close, you can take some damage. Or if you're a smaller sort of class of ship, not just
Yep.
shuttles, I'm talking, you know, like
Yeah.
cargo haulers and
Hmm.
drop ships sort of thing. Um, they can get a damn good thrashing um, from a sort of a maniple of warlords with their volcano cannons firing at you. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's Titan War is the most, you know, apocalyptic. Um,
Yeah.
because they don't care.
No, that's like it's on, man. There's no
And
nothing.
you
I'm
know,
sure like the friendly fire alone would be horrendous.
oh yeah, yeah. But I said, like, these guys can survive a exterminatus level of it. Like in
Yeah.
the start of the Horus Heresy book series, they virus bomb a planet, and the Titans that are on the planet basically just power down, close all the vents and everything, and just
Yeah.
sit
Oh,
because they can't be
wow.
affected. You know, once they're sealed, they can't. You know, this virus
Yeah.
going around
But
turning
they're
everything
sealed
to
in. Yeah.
bio sludge, um, and then the planet was set fire as well. So that was fun. Um,
Just well, oh yeah, just spark it up now. We're
there's this,
good.
there's this, there was this scene where like these because like bioweapons weren't generally used on your own forces.
Hmm.
Um, so that's the whole thing about there's a character called Soul Tarvitz who
Yep.
learns of this, heads down to Istvan 3 to warn the soldiers there, the Astartes there, that they're going to get mullered because they've
Yeah.
been betrayed. So he saves a lot of the loyalists because they go, oh bugger. They take
Yeah.
shelter in some like the bunkers that they've captured from the enemy as they're laying their assaults and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But they didn't know about the second part of the virus bombing
Oh.
because the virus, the fleshy virus, basically dissolves anything biological.
Yep.
It turns into like a lumpy, soupy type thing.
Yeah.
So people were melting left, right, and centre. Um, that produces a lot of gas,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then they
and
light it.
then
Oh, wow.
they light it. The orbital fleets basically just fired down, igniting the fumes, which basically just burns off the virus, so it's safe
Yeah.
to land afterwards. But there is a scene where he's like, all the flesh eaters gone around, is eating everything and all that, and like these guys like pop their head out of the bunker and they start coming out, going, "Yeah, it looks okay." So
Yeah.
suddenly, and they
Wow.
get eaten, not get burnt. So yes, mental.
Life is rough in the grim, dark future. What did you? I'm sure I asked you this before, but you talked about the aerial bombarding thing. Did you play? Is it? Wait, there's Aeronauticus, and then there's the one with the big battleships from back further back in the day.
Well, yeah, it was like Space Fleet, and then it became Battlefleet Gothic.
Okay, yes. Did
So
you ever
Space Fleet
play
came out first.
any of those three?
I had the Space Fleet box because GW went on a phase where they were releasing these little boxes, games in a box, basically,
Yep, yep,
and they were really cheap. Even like back in those days, it was like
yep.
only about, honestly, about £5-6
Oh,
for this
wow.
box. So you had
We didn't get that
a
stuff
little rule
here.
book. Mm,
See? Darn you, Lee.
yeah. Um, and then you get a couple of models, so like a loyal, an imperial ship, and there was like an Eldar ship sort of thing, and then you do like your battles and all
Yeah.
that, and then eventually they started bringing out ships, but yeah, Battlefleet Gothic became the main name for it, because there was a famous battle in the lore in the Gothic sector, where there was lots
Oh,
of
is
ships.
that where it came from? See, I didn't
Yeah,
know that one. Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah. So yeah, it was all done that way. So you had the ships flying around. Eldar, they brought out, because it was a 40k thing, so you had like orc ships, chaos ships. Eventually, you got Tau ships in there as well, Dark
Okay.
Eldar, and that. So like all the races were sort of represented pretty much. Um, but again, when they started winding down,
We're live, so it was just shut down. I want to see if it picks it up in the same one. Unless you restart your streaming software. I don't know where we're live to, but oh, we saved it, I think. Yeah, okay, good. Um, did you ever play, and it's probably not because it's so obscure, it was back in the Commodore 64 days,
hmm.
and we're 128 days, and it was, I believe it was called Space Crusade.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
you did play that. Yeah.
yeah,
That,
because you also had obviously a tabletop, because it was the kid, the young kid friendly version of Space Hulk, because
what,
they
so what year do you, I should look it up. I don't have the thing. I'm trying to think, what year did that game come out? Because that would have to be the 80s. I don't think it wasn't the 90s, it was the
it
80s.
came out after, so Space Hulk came out first, and then they done. I think that was working with a company called MB Games, who
Yeah.
done Space Hulk. They got licensed to make Space Crusade, so they had like some really sort of basic characters like
Yeah,
aliens.
I love that. I loved that thing. I
It
was
was on the
so
same time as
captivated.
Hero Quest. So when Hero
Okay,
Quest came
yeah,
out,
because they had, you'd pick, it was like They had the Blood Angels, Ultramarines, and I think the yellow ones. I always forget the yellow ones, even though I love them. Uh,
Imperial Fist.
yeah, Imperial Fists, and I remember those. And then like your different sergeants for the different chapters had slightly different abilities, and then you'd go through the whole thing. And yeah, I dug that one a lot.
Yeah, and there's yeah, because you had like red, blue, and yellow
Yeah, I think
marine
there was just
colours,
three, if I remember
different
correctly.
teams. But yeah, and then obviously you had all the aliens. So because like the aliens models that was featured in there, so you
Yeah.
had like the Chaos Dreadnought, which
Yeah, I
became
remember
a
the Dreadnought. Yeah.
um, you had the Necrons. Was where they first appeared as a model. Was in Space Crusade.
Really?
Yeah, and
Oh,
there's this
I'm
artwork they did of like these different alien races. Um,
Yeah, wow.
so one of them was the Kroot, who are the auxiliaries for the
Yep.
Tau. They recycle and
God, I'm
repurpose.
literally trying to search my memory to see what, because you're right, because there were like different little things in there, but I always remember the dreadnoughts, like the look of the dreadnoughts and that, and yeah, I'm not remembering some of the or a lot of the creatures. I'll have to go look that up again. Huh. I'm like catching up on all the stuff. Yeah, I always remember that. That was a good game back in the day. I was always a fan of the tactical and whatchamacallit type XCOM type games.
Yeah,
God,
I
I
love
loved
that.
old XCOM. God, okay, and I was all excited they did the reboot. And I'm old and jaded, so I know they're always going to change everything away from the way I liked it. And I thought the reboot was really cool. But
Mm.
I miss okay, you know what? This was the dumbest thing ever, but in a way I miss it is when if you stepped off the boat first, they would sometimes just fire a missile right into your ship and kill everybody. so, so a lot of times you have to throw. So when I learned on some of the missions, it was like the big rollout is I would stand in there and I would throw smoke into the front of the thing and then I would roll out because or else they would always get blitzed with a missile. And I miss, dude, there would be like, 3, 4 buildings and you could fire like a high explosive rocket and you would just blow up like chunks of like 3 buildings and you hear everyone screaming and like the scale. I like the scale on that game more than the reboot, even though I thought the reboot was well done and I liked a couple other small features a little better. Like I know they streamlined, they did it, but that sense of scale to me was like I was like, oh douche, I can't wait to, just be blowing up buildings and you can blow up buildings in this one, but just not that same type of thing. And I always think about that game a lot.
Mm. It was like I think I was about 95 when I was playing Terror from the Deep,
Yes, yeah,
which yeah, I love that
me too.
from
That was
there.
a good one.
Um, but I always found it really really hard going.
Yeah.
I hated all my guys dying. So like you
Oh,
restart the
see,
mission
me
again.
too. Me too. They would die like punks too. You do all this stuff and it sounds like beep, and they're like done. You're like, dude, I just spent like half the game nurturing this person and like the
Yeah.
right stuff. And I was like, boom, you're done.
And you go like, how the hell is like you've like maxed out your skills and all that, and you're just like
Yeah.
point blank missing somebody with like a minigun. You
Yeah,
go,
yeah, that's
how
all
do
the
you do
stuff
that?
I thought they would clean up. That was
Yeah.
what, you know what I mean? When they're like a reboot, I'm like, yeah, stick with it, but straighten all that stuff out, and it would be like incredible. There was one game, if anyone is out there into video games, I always suggest this is it's pro it's probably I can't say that because there's other ones I played more, but any type of it was a mod. So there was the game Civilization, and it was either Civilization 4 or 5, and then there was a mod called was it Beyond the Sword? It was Fall from Heaven and Beyond the Sword, and you would put both of those mods on, and it was the most incredible game ever. And it's, to my mind, it still blows away even the new civilizations and everything. The things you could do were incredible. Like you would stack so many units. You could, like, the way you could cross combine everything, there was just endless possibilities. And you could summon these like huge avatars that would walk across the world and like scorch the earth. And just there was all these things, like sometimes mountains would all spring up and there'd be gold everywhere. And I played it a lot, and it was like basically different every time. You'd have to sometimes like build a ranger character, train it all the way up to the max level. Then you would take your whole bunch of soldiers, and if the seed was lucky and you this dragon spawned, you could go there and fight them for like 100 years to wear them down. And then if your ranger was the maxed out level, you could enchant that dragon and then put him on one of your castles, and then this huge dragon would fight for you. And it was insane. You used to be able to, like, your magic users could summon skeletons if you crossed these two um, things right. You'd have to have like a certain species and a certain follow chaos or whatever. Then you could start summoning skeletons, and you could like stack. You'd get like stacks of like 40, 50 skeletons that were all summoned because you'd have a whole bunch of wizards summoning them. It was incredible. Hey, Chambers, thanks for making it. He said, "Good afternoon from Texas, my friend." Thanks. I didn't warn
Hey.
anyone. I've been so busy. I didn't have a free paint over day thread, so I didn't even really promote this. So of course, it like just started and didn't tell anyone. But I'm like, hey, I'm content.
I done a tweet when we came on.
I'm content to just talk with Lee if need be. But I'm glad you made it.
Just sitting here, painting Titans.
What's funny is that you are like across the world, and it was like a long time ago, and then just like all the games and stuff we have in common. It's like, oh, dude, you were doing like the same exact thing over in the UK, like around the world.
It's all good. It's all good, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We wouldn't
Yeah,
be here approaching our 1 year anniversary
I know.
if we didn't have something in common,
Did
which
you
is awesome.
it's That's very true. Did you any shows or anything new recently? You finished? Did Expanse isn't finished. I didn't start the new season yet, but it's not finished yet, is it?
Well, last episode's this week, so
Oh, okay. I better catch it
um,
so we can
and
chat about it.
it's been emotional.
That's what I
It's actually
figured.
been a good, it has been a good season. Um, there's like I think it was the third episode I've watched about 7 times.
Oh, wow.
But there's a good action sequence, but as a
Yeah.
whole, the episode is really good. But yeah, there's like some new characters. There's some old characters. There's some stuff happens and this, that, and the other. And
Yeah.
um, but it's been a strong season. It's just sad that it is the last episode. Like there's only 6 episodes in the season
Yeah.
because with all the stuff that they wanted to do, um, Amazon said like. Yeah, that's a lot of money that you want to spend out to do all these bits and pieces, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
when we're just wrapping it
And
up
so
anyway.
they had to drop the episode number down in order to finance what they wanted to do
That
in the
makes
episode.
sense.
But
Okay.
the last one is 67 minutes because they're normally about 45 ish
Okay.
um, on average. So it's a little bit, it's a added length to it. Um, but it's the end. It's the end of this.
I know, isn't that always like a, especially when it's a thing like in sci-fi, to me, good sci-fi on TV is always kind of like rare to me. You know what I mean? It's like when it comes around, when you meet a show that you really like, it's like you gotta soak it in. Sophist Chambers says, I retweeted Lee's announcement for the stream. Thank you very much. Lee, Sophist, are you working on anything? Are you hobbying right now?
Hey Pat,
There. Anyone working on? And wait, Lee, on your Titan, are you almost done? Were you finished, did you say, or
Oh
no?
yeah. He's done.
Okay.
So I've it's basically it's like the weapons, like the what's it? Where's the thing? Like this little plasma cannon,
Yeah.
plasma blast gun. Sorry, I magnetized the weapons.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I think they might. I was looking at them earlier on. I thought, I know I could do a little bit more with them.
Yeah. Does it
So
come with any variable weapons in that box? Like, is there any
yeah,
choices? Oh, it does.
yeah. The shoulder weapons. So the weapons that go. Oh,
Wait,
sorry.
other way.
Yeah. So
Okay,
these
got you.
go in. Oh, that way.
Yep.
There. There's this
Okay.
little shoulder bit here, just a thing, and that's where the weapons plug in. So
Yep.
you actually get um, about 5 different weapon systems. So you get
Oh,
the
okay.
plasma blast guns, you get turbo lasers, you get Vulcan mega bolters, you get melter cannons, you get flamers. Now they all fit
Oh,
into that socket. You also get
yeah.
missile launchers, but they don't fit into that socket.
Yep.
So personally, I don't go with missile launchers. Um, I just go with the other stuff.
Okay.
So
All right,
that's
good
just
to
me.
know. That way, because I'll end up doing the same. I'll end up magnetizing because if I get one, I'm like I'm gonna want to change. So I'm like, yeah, you've already done it, so whatever. I'll be able to at least pick your brain. Lee, what do I do? See, that's why I got connections now. I can be like, I'll know. Don't assemble the whole thing before you paint it. Sophus Lee. All right, I'm getting my lunch break right now. I've been working on my first Tiny Titans as Legio Solaria?
Solaria, the
Solaria.
Imperial Hunters, one of the greatest legios out there.
I wonder if you got any
They are
games in.
they're the Titan Legio in the novel that is called Titan Death. They are the protagonists in it,
Oh, so he's a
and
bad
they
guy?
are
Sophist is a bad one? He plays the bad team? No.
no, Solaria are awesome. Solaria are awesome. And they're at that time they're all female as well.
Oh,
It's an all
really?
female Legio.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Solaria for if it's like sororitas type thing. I could see that.
They're well, it was they go into in the book they go into the reasons why they're an all female Legio,
Yeah.
and it was basically um, down because the Mechanicus or Mechanicum at the time rediscovered the night world of Procon Vi, and this new Forge world was being set up. They were putting out feelers and meeting all these like human worlds, and Procon Vi was a night world, so there was a few night houses based on the planet, and
Yeah.
they were holding these like games, like it was like the first one across the line with this uh, reef
Okay.
sort of thing becomes like the lead house, and they were doing it in the presence of this Mechanicum adept, and damn it,
No pressure.
I can't remember her name. Mankata Vi. Esha, no, not
I don't even
Esha.
know how you remember stuff like that, Lee.
Mahani. Oh, but basically, yeah. There's this girl. She's the daughter of the lead, the king of the head house,
Okay.
and her brother is in his knight, and they're like steampunk knights because they lost the
Mm-hmm.
ability to use like better power systems. So they're
Yeah, gotcha.
chugging along, um, and he's winning this race. He has the reef, and she rides down alongside him on her horse to sort of cheer him on. You know, oh, you're doing well, doing well.
Yeah.
And his legs get taken out by an enemy rival sort of thing who's trying to
Yep.
get the reef. And the reef goes rolling, and she picks it up and rides off to the finish line. um, which was frowned upon. um, and basically, all the knights were going, "Boo! Oh, you, that's wrong. You cheated. She's not
Yeah.
allowed. She's a girl." Um, but the Mechanicum adept, who was there as the honoured guest, basically went, "Oh, right, okay. Um,
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah, I'm not bothered." And the king was saying, like, "I have to make an example, because what you've done is wrong.
Yeah.
You went against tradition and stuff."
Yeah. Yeah. They have their
And
whole, yeah.
the Mechanicum adept went, "I might be able to help you out with this situation. I'll take your daughter and other daughters away, sort of
Yeah.
thing, and get rid of these meddlesome girls for you." And like they were, "Oh yeah, the girls aren't important. It's all about the sons to become knights and stuff like that."
Yeah.
Whereas the Mechanicum is like, it's good DNA.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah. That's
DNA
what
from a
they're looking
noble
at.
house that can be easily transferred into these women piloting Titans.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
so all these like daughters of these night houses got taken, and they were given like technology and support in return as part of this sort of agreement. Um, and the mechanic went to the girls, right? Those knights, they're tiny. We want you to drive these things. and
Oh, that's crazy. So that, yeah, that makes sense. And they gave him those huge titans.
Yeah, and they had a kill rate, the third best kill ratio over all the Titan legions.
See, we get to learn something. Alex, thanks for making it. Appreciate Eutychus, appreciate it too. The mechanical are the best. I used to play, well, back in the day it was Space Wolves, but that's when I started seeing the all those Mechanicus models. I don't know, whatever it was. I always kind of looked at 40K books or whatever, but kind of when they started coming out with the new Mechanicus models, I was, really checking them out. And just like when I started seeing those Iron Striders in particular, because I always liked like the Knights, the Titans, and all that. So the Iron Striders kind of really stood out. I like that like long look and the dangling whatever, got guns and a lance and all that stuff. So I got kind of captivated with the new Mechanicus stuff. I can
I
imagine like
know.
I think it'd be cool to see some of those with the lances running around and then have like a knight with them. You know what I mean? Like I just that would be like that sense of scale, and then you have the little foot troops. It looks so cool.
Mm. Yeah, no, I do like the Skitari. Just that, it's, it's just bonkers at times. Oh, you're a Skitari, right? We're going to remove your legs and your arms, and give you bionic ones.
The I did like that video game that they came out with for around the Mechanicum. They were taking on the Necrons. That played pretty cool. I liked. So I love those games because it's almost the equivalent of like an XCOM, but they had a couple really cool game mechanics in it that I really enjoyed, like how the combat took place.
Yeah, no, I used to play because that's sort of like over the top, sort of like squad. Well, wasn't it
Yeah.
Mechanicus?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I used to do like the
Three quarter view or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. I used to play the there was a Death Watch one with Space Marines. I played
Yep.
a little bit back in the day,
Back in the
which was
day.
fun. But yeah, those games are very straightforward, but they are fun. Um,
Yeah.
and the soundtrack to that particular one is considered to be like one of the best game soundtracks around for 40K games.
Yeah, you're probably right because there was cool stuff. What I liked is that I forget how the action points worked, but basically you had action points almost for your whole squad. So
Mm,
then what you could do is you could basically spend them almost all on one person. So you could do like an incredible, hey, run here, shoot twice, do all this stuff if you needed to with one person. And so I found, since I played a ton of those games, I found that the uh, the options opened up. because it wasn't like, hey, this guy is always bound to move, he can move three and shoot two. So, every turn he's going to move three and shoot two. So different combinations would open up because you could be like, oh, wait, if I powered this guy up, like let him run twice and then I hit him with this weapon because it's this, I might be able to do that. So I had a good time with that. It was a good strategery, little good strategery up in there.
Gosh. Yeah, no, it's fun when you get those little games. There was another game I used to play because like those ones you play on your phone, don't you, or iPad.
Oh, there's
Um,
a couple, yeah, that you count on there. Yep.
there was the one 40K game I played the most was Freeblade, which was Imperial Knights,
Yeah.
and that was actually a lot of fun, But
Yeah.
I managed to do a challenge on like it was an online challenge you
Okay.
against other people for like top scores, and I came
Yeah.
in second on one of
Oh,
them
really? You
once.
did get
I
okay.
was like woohoo! I've
I
won second place.
got it. Victory.
Got it. And second, because the top three got like some sort of reward and stuff. So.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Any plans to be able to play a game or anything anytime soon?
I have many plans in my head
Yep.
about playing games. I've just got a. I've well, actually, February the 12th. February the 12th and 13th. There's a event going on called Beachhead.
Okay.
It's like a games convention. It's nowhere near like a Adepticon or anything like
No,
that.
but it's just like a
Um,
cool little
it's a
local one.
small one that is based on the south coast of England in Bournemouth,
Okay.
and the Titan Owners Club have been invited down there to do a demo game of
Okay.
one of our Titan walks.
Heck
So
yeah.
planning on going on to that, but only for the Saturday the 12th.
Yeah.
Um, so
Oh,
that's
good. So you do get.
my
I
next
know
official
you've been pretty busy,
engagement
so
as
I was like,
such.
I didn't know if you got the chance to get anything in. So that's good.
Well, I could make arrangements with one of my friends, Martin, who I play with semi regularly, like AT.
Hmm.
But you just say you go to work, next minute you're going to bed, next minute
Well,
you're waking
that's
up.
it. Yeah, you do all that, and it's like, okay. And I had all these. I was like, hey, do this. I'm like, dude, I've been doing nothing but like working, and like I haven't even, And then I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta pick up posting on YouTube because that was going really well. And then like today, I didn't even have like time to like tweet. Like yesterday, I think I ate one meal. I've been like, oh my gosh. So whatever, but I can't complain. It's better than not being busy. But and usually someone like, oh, they're busy, and I'm like half people like they'll use it just I don't know, just to sound like they're busy or something. Me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I'm, I'm dying over here. And winter, I'm still enjoying the winter though. I'll be honest, I like the cold weather, so I'm trying to bask in it. I'm like, dude, it's gonna be hot summer soon enough. I'll like sit in that cold room and enjoy it. Yeedicus, oh wait, Yeedicus said the soundtrack is amazing, and so did Alex. So they both like it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so many people are basically, so I've seen it on Twitter and everything. It's just like, oh yeah, it's like the best thing ever. Just and it is. You can
yeah,
listen to it on YouTube. Yeah, someone like uploaded all the songs,
okay.
um, so you can just sit there, have it in the background, like all the little like beep boop and whatever, um, and go from there.
I think
But
that if I remember correctly, I did like some of the voices too when they would like talk and do their stuff.
well,
Yes,
that's
I
the thing is
did.
like voice talent on certain games can actually enhance
Oh
the game
yeah,
because that's the big thing for me with the original Space Marine game. Having an actor
yeah,
like Lance Strong playing Titus, um,
yeah.
you just bought into it. He's just he's a great actor anyway,
Hmm.
but then he's doing an iconic you know hobby
Yeah.
character in an ultramarine captain, and
Yeah.
you just think, yeah, that is such an ultramarine captain, dude.
Yeah, it fits.
Gosh,
It
but
fits.
yeah, it's if you can get the right voice. Like obviously, like, I listen to a lot of audio books, so
Yeah.
sometimes you get like Toby Longworth, for example, who does a lot of the Black Library sort of books. He always does like a really good sort of reading, and
Yeah.
you get some interesting characters. He does. I think he has like one voice in particular that you can hear, and you go, he used that voice on that character in that book.
Uh,
you know. But you don't mind because you remember that character that you done that voice for. You think that was a cool character. Um,
I got to have, I made some, I, one of my gifts from, I know it's Ryan, I forget the last name, but um, on Twitter had sent me, he was the person who gifted me stuff for Hobby Vices, and he
yeah,
gave me some, it's a habanero hot sauce, and it's got like a little free. So I made like the sweet and sour chicken, and put that basically on it. It's kind of like the sauce. It was really good. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm cracking that open, enjoying my Christmas gift. So I have hot chocolate, which I should make here shortly. So I think this week I'm gonna crack open into the, dude. It's like a big bag of chocolate. Like I gotta get a picture of like it's this huge thing. I'm like, dude, this is gonna be like the richest, best hot chocolate ever.
it was just just a Eutychus TD. It's funny. You're the only YouTuber I've seriously clicked early by accident.
That's an honor. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
preemptive clicking
Yeah.
is not a bad thing.
Lee, what's your you got any weekend stuff? Are you gonna do your stream on Saturday?
Yes, should be streaming on Saturday. Obviously, it won't be a War Master. I've been thinking today. I almost brought them out here. I was going to start building um, some Warhounds because
Oh yeah.
even though I have, you know, this dude finished, I've still got a load of Titans I've
That's
recently
yeah.
acquired.
Like we're talking and you always seem so sane and put together that like I would worry about you if you didn't come across. So like you hold down a job, you got everything going together. I'm like, so I don't worry that you have like a million titans.
Yeah, I've got one or two, one or two.
The how
But
much
yeah, so
do are warhounds? Do warhounds come in a box of one?
two.
They two, and what do they wrap you for a box of two?
Well, official GW prices is
Yeah.
£40, so that'll
Okay,
probably be
so
about
like 60
55,
bucks or
$60.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you get two Warhounds in there. You get uh, uh, all the weapons you would need as well,
Yeah.
because um, yeah, they've got all their basic weapons are in their set. They're probably the most um, best value because you've got options. So you've got like two plasma
Yeah.
glass guns, you've got two Vulcan mega bolters, two turbo lasers, two flamers. So that's their mainstay weapons. Obviously, you can get the other stuff now from Forge World if
Yeah.
you want special weapons, but as a kit, you get two in there. You can give them slight variations with like certain pads and stuff.
Yep.
Although um, they only have four fire plates, so
Okay.
you've got four legs to do, but they do a loyalist type one, and then they do like a chaosy type
Yep.
one. So ideally, if you are starting Titanicus and you're going to have a loyalist and a traitor force, each
Gotcha.
pack does one loyalist, one traitor,
Okay, so I got it. Oh, so
with the fire plates anyway.
okay,
They've got
okay. So then
multiples of everything else, just the fire plates.
yeah, I think I would get that would probably be the ones I would get next just because I want them and I love Warhounds. And it probably at least in my mind, I'd have the big, huge, close hand-to-hand one, and then I have a couple warhounds. Or like visually, I thinking about visually, I'm like, okay, yeah, you have this huge, big one, the iconoclast, and then have a couple warhounds, and then later I'd get a couple knights with that or something just for looks.
Well, so you've got the big dude, haven't you?
Hmm.
So you've
Yeah.
got the big dude. Now in the game,
We
that's a
want
support.
reavers. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you really need now, if you're going to treat yourself, treat yourself, um, is to get yourself a starter box set
Okay.
because you get the two warhounds, you get two reavers in there. So
Oh, and then I would
with
have
that,
this. Yeah.
and then you have that as a support titan. Um, Obviously, if you wanted to get extra titans to help,
Yeah.
nothing going to hurt you with doing that. I would say getting yourself, if you've got a starter set and then a warlord titan,
Yep.
for example, then you can do a couple of mana
Of
pools.
iterations of like how you want
Yeah,
to.
so
Yeah.
it gives you
Okay.
more sort of tactical sort of choices. And Joffrey
Toffee
Troll,
Troll, thanks for
hello.
making it. Do I stream on Twitch? I have a Twitch set up, but I don't stream on it. And what sucks is I I'm gonna have to try the other streaming software because I started with it and then it was glitching out and dropping out, and then I paid for one that works with Apple products because it streams me basically flawlessly, but it can't do dual streams yet. And we should have been doing this on dual streams the whole time because we probably would have had a Twitch, you know what I mean? We would have had followers on Twitch too. So that is one thing I'm thinking about because I don't want to split focus. If I did Twitch, from what I understanding, I'd probably do even a little better than on YouTube. But like I have long term for YouTube, it's like, hey, grow it, try to get the hours and spend the time, and then just and I like that. Like our shows will just be saved, they don't disappear or anything on YouTube. So, but if I could cross-platform, that would be the ideal situation.
Mm. Yeah, so I've got a Twitch account, but I don't use it.
Yeah, yeah. I watch some people. I have one because I'll tune in, to a couple different like Twitch streams for
Yeah,
people. But
yeah, I watch quite a few hobby
yeah,
Twitches.
um,
Um,
because I like it. I like, just swing by and be like, hey, check it out. And I'm so addicted. Everything's on my laptop or my iPad, so it's nice. You just click it, Twitch pops up. You're not whatever, and watch something.
yeah, exactly.
Heck
That's
yeah.
what I do on other nights when I'm not live streaming. So
That's
I'm
gonna be
either
fun.
watching Twitch, like pick friends I've got who are well, I became friends with people that Twitch
Hmm.
via Twitch and Twitter. Um, but yeah, so I watch them every now and again, and what was it? What was I say? Yeah, I was never thought about doing it, but then it does look quite interesting at times. Like when they do, like you get raids occur where
Yeah, yeah,
somebody else
yeah.
like just turns up with a load of followers. Um, like there was one well, the three people I generally watch on Twitch are Lass Hammer.
Yep.
She's I've been watching her um, for almost a year now.
Yeah.
Um, Crystal McDowell,
Yeah,
who's
I
been
see Crystal's one. I pop into a lot of her streams.
yeah, I popped in last night. She was doing some squigs as she does because she's the queen of squigs.
Yeah.
Uh, so there and actually no, there was another one, but she doesn't Twitch as much. It was which was Red Katana.
Okay.
Used to watch her streams. That's where I know why Sophie's from because he's another
Oh, okay. I
on there.
uh I like to the one on Twitch, and I think it's the camera setups. He's got a great design eye or whatever. I forget what fully he does, but they call him Uncle Adam from Tabletop Minions. He has a cool. When I go to his Twitch, I like his camera setup because he'll do this one where it's the close up kind of like of his face type deal, but it's smaller in the corner and it's like a black and white camera. I was like, oh, dude, you made a cool choice with that. Just and I don't even know why, because most people put color, and I'm like, okay, he's got a good camera angle of his face, so you still see it's him, but it's black and white. So something about that, and maybe it's because I like black and white artwork, with his setup, and then he did good with whatever device he's using. I think it's listed on his stuff for his miniatures because it has a really good like zoom, right? So he'll move his hand up and the zoom will zoom in right on the miniature, so then you get a nice crisp close up. So he
Mm.
does really good on that because I get to see it close and whatchamacallit with an automatic zoom where he's not fighting it into that camera. So that was one that always kind of like stuck with me as far as like production value and that, that I dug for. I don't know how they look. Hobby Vices, they do theirs is a lot of fun too. I haven't stopped by in a few weeks, but I have to go check out their show on Twitch because they usually have a lot going on, and those two guys, they're fun, him and Havocs. So they do.
Yeah.
I scope in that one actually quite a bit, but it's just been a little
Yeah,
while.
I've listened to Lonely Havoc's podcast a
Yeah.
couple of times.
Yep.
I've done with on that, but so they're with those sort of shows, like sometimes you want to be there at the time, so you
That's
can actually
it.
interact. Sort
Yes.
of
No, and
thing.
that's how I feel like about these live streams is that like yeah, you want to be there, someone might watch when they can't do it, but like that's how I kind of feel. Like I try to catch them and then I'm on like old man hours, so they'll be like, "Hey, it's 9 o'clock." It's I'm like, "Oh, dude, I don't know if I can make that."
I'm in bed. I'm in bed. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait.
I'm sorry to call. It's like you young partiers. I'm not some young partier at 9 o'clock doing a live stream.
Yeah, actually, to say young partiers, there was I was watching Rob on the Honest War Gamer,
Yeah.
and Rob is he used to work for Games Workshop. He actually used to host Warhammer TV,
Oh, okay.
um, but he went on his own. He's got his own thing, and he's a really, really nice, decent guy.
Yeah.
And his show is always looking into like AOS, and he's funny, but I suppose he is a honest wargamer.
Yeah.
He will give credit where it's due, but he'll also sort of like say you're doing something wrong there,
Yeah.
um, even to the big guys, sort of thing. Um, but it was on this on Twitch one day, and he's gone right. Oh, we're gonna raid somebody,
Yeah.
and he's picked this guy, um, and he's the guy's called Duck Guts. So
Yeah.
Duck,
Doc
like
got yeah.
guts, right? And we've raided, and it was sort of like 100 odd people was watching
Yeah.
Wargamer, raided with that, and Duck was like he plays music that he does in his background, but he also hobbies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's realised that like he's been raided by like 100 odd people, he's just gone like next level excited, and just it was just so natural, and it was really wholesome. And he's like starts playing music, he's going yeah, yeah, and all that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
it was just brilliant. And he's a really nice guy as well. So another Twitch for people to follow, because he's just infectious with his enthusiasm.
Yeah, I did not, because it wasn't my personality ever. Like, I'm not like, if I'm in a social environment, I'll talk or whatever, but it's not like my normal thing to be like, hey, I want to chat with people or anything like that. So, that was one thing I was just superly pleasantly surprised. It's like, hey, the people who stop by, it's people I interact with kind of like generally all the time on Twitter, so I get to see a lot of their work and you get to know their whole hobby thing. And I'm like, I'm laughing to myself. I'm like, oh my God, how much brain power have I used? Like, I'll be remembering, I won't remember things like how old I am, but I'll remember someone's paint style. I'll be like, oh yeah, you painted that and you did this. And then it's like, also I'll be remembering like just their miniatures. I won't remember anything else. Like, oh yeah. And so it's been a lot of fun. Like, you see the people like, whatever, like trying different things. And then because I've been now like whatever around over a year and a half or something with everyone, you followed that like progress. And I just didn't know I would get like that invested in what people were working on. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see, and I'm like, there's a lot of people that I look forward to seeing what they're doing, and I'm like, I didn't think that, you know what I mean? Where you're like, hey, maybe I would like the pictures, but I just didn't know I was going to get like caught up in their like hobby journey. It's like, oh, dude, you used to do that, and now look what you're doing.
Well, yeah, you get invested, and that's
Yeah,
what it's about, really. Sort of thing. It's like again, like when I've had people sort of comment on my Titans and all that sort of thing. They
yeah,
said, "Oh, it's like you know, like it being inspiring sort of thing."
yeah,
I really got to get onto my Titans. I feel invigorated to actually work on my
yeah,
Titans. Seeing what you've done there, sort of thing, and that's just really nice to hear from like people just sort of like commenting nicely and
yeah.
commenting
Good point. Good
stuff
point.
because that's what I'm all about. I don't I like to I'm showing my models, but I always
Yeah, you're
try
not.
to
You don't come off as like some huge like we're all showing online, so it's like in a way you're seeking attention. But I mean, some people come off like desperate for it or something. But in the hobby community, that was another thing I was super surprised about. Like, is that I don't come across a lot of those people. Like everyone's like, "Hey, here's my mini," and it's just like, "Yeah, it's fun." I'm like, "Okay, good." Like it's not a bunch of people who have like something trying to prove like they're this greatest thing or whatever. So that's a vibe I really like about the hobby community.
yeah, no, they are a really like decent bunch. I think I said I
Yeah,
haven't had major issues with anyone really over the
no.
course of the last couple of years.
Crimson. Yeah.
Crimson's here.
Toffee Troll was
Crimson.
checking the bait. Toffee Troll told me, I saw him in Discord, one of the, I don't know, like 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, it was when I was out of town and I missed the live stream and he went to tune in. He was at the hospital and I don't know if his child was firstborn or just like with that night and he was going to check out the stream and we weren't on. And I was like, "Oh, he was having a kid at that time and we missed it." So I feel like I let down Toffee Troll because we could have done
You
like a
missed the birth
baby
of
live stream.
his
We could have had a
child. Oh
baby.
my god.
We could have had a baby on live stream.
I can't believe our luck, just
I
being
know.
there like a push, push.
Yeah, dude. Like live stream us, live stream us.
As I say, I'm having severe withdrawal symptoms of Crimson's voice.
I
Um,
know. I
we
know.
need to get onto on the Discord and have a chat at some point because
Yeah.
I've miss it. He's my favourite Bostonian.
It's
Um,
been it's been a few weeks since I chatted with Crimson either in voice chat because I'll usually go in there and I think like Toffee, I was in there a few days ago. I've even been half absent from there just because I've been doing so much stuff. But yeah, I got to chat in there and Crimson in the Discord. We'll chat with them and it's been good. I always want to say Bad Posture Paint, even though he changed his name. Um, and now I don't remember what his
I don't
Twitter
know who he
handle is.
is
I don't
anymore.
know who he is. It was funny. His name is Clayton. It was like literally my first patron supporter, and I forget what this whole story was gonna go. Oh, but he's been doing a lot more with that and been streaming some. I've had him on here a couple times, and I gotta get
Didn't he
a
do
few
one
more
with
in there.
Bad Posture as well? I was on here as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. So yeah, you know who he is. And so he's been doing a lot of like stuff. He's always what's funny is he's one of the ones who there's a lot of them like that, though. The amount of stuff they'll do for their hobby, right? It's like he bought a house, works full-time job, all this stuff, and is still doing like a ton of hobby. Like he works on a lot of commissions, painting and everything, and it's just like, wow, man. And not even from a hobby standpoint, but just that energy, and you're like, hey, you're kind of around someone who's like doing a lot of stuff, and I'll see you like always working on Titans, and it's like I'm one of those kind of like simple people who, if I'm around that energy, it's easier for me to get into that flow rather than people who are like, hey, you're not doing much. Then I'd kind of like, sink down to that. But if you're around a lot who are doing it, I get motivated.
I was going to say, so you're basically a joy leech.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything. I mean, yeah, I do it. I take people's pictures and then do it over. I'm like a coattail. Like I ride people's coattails. Apparently, that's like what I do. I
This
coattail
is how I charge
energy. I
my energy up. Is by
Yeah,
I
I
lure
coattail
people
art.
in
I'm
with
like
the
art
promise
and
of art.
whatever. Yeah, I'm a professional coattail rider, dude. I'm okay with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's
Yeah,
honesty.
no. Mechanical Frog, thanks for making it. He's another one. Mechanical Frog. I don't know where this dude. He's put out so many videos, and I. What's cool is I've watched his channel, right, and he'll do different things, and he's gone through different games and like put a lot of work into doing his stuff. And it's cool to see because he's stuck with it, already so long doing it with like a ton of content. And I'll see people's like YouTube channels growing like that, and that's the other thing that like adds to my coattail, right? It's like, oh hey man, he's putting it out and growing good. I can keep doing that and everything. So that's been good. He mixes in like a little history stuff into his and everything, and it's pretty cool.
Mm. Yeah, no, it's we can learn a lot from history.
Or not, as apparently as popular.
Yeah. No, I was actually because I've been listening for the last few weeks a podcast called "The Rest Is History." This is
Okay.
two history like writers, dudes,
Hmm.
stuff, but they'll it's like an hour show, and they'll pick a subject and they'll go through it, and and it's quite all throughout history, not just like the classics or anything like that, but
Yeah.
all bits and pieces. But I was actually listening to about the Watergate,
Hmm.
and Nixon and stuff, and
Hmm.
it's one of those things that you know about, but you don't know
Yeah.
what happened and all that sort of thing. And then you go for it, and it's like it was quite. In some points, it was quite hilarious, like the little mistakes that caused it all and all that. Or like today, I was listening about when Caesar crossed the Rubicon.
Yeah.
Um, they're talking about the Rubicon is like a stream, and I've been there. It's not really impressive.
What
It
was
sounds a lot grander than it is.
it's like a this little area. It's like I crossed the Rubicon. It's like yeah, I just like leaped across. Let me step
Yeah,
on these couple
and
rocks and I'm over
and it's like it was meant to be like you say across the Rubicon, you think, oh, this it's a really
Yeah, a
impressive sort of thing.
treacherous. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
rolling river, and you got a whole. Yeah.
no, it's a stream.
One of the ones I forget what the name was. So I used to do a lot of the free books. You know how like the real old ones, they're like free or whatever, so they'll put them online and you read a lot of them. And some of them, I forget the historian, and I wish I would remember this book because it was great. So it was one of the super early historians, like back almost like the Roman days, I think, right? And so it was
Livy, Livy.
all these events, and you forget how like long the Roman Empire was, right? So you'd always get like the broader strokes of history and they would cover the hot ones. This one was just like this crazy detail because you think in terms of all those years, and there was like, I forget what time frame it was, but it was when Rome was really big. And there was like some small nation kingdom who literally smacked Rome around for like his whole life, right? He would just raid and conquer all this stuff and take all their gold. And no one like really ever brings them up in any historical context that I heard, except this old author like wrote like one of the things was about this guy, and like how he like and he I forget he had some great sayings about like when he was raiding. So I was like, wow, you don't think of it, but like Rome was like basically at its height of its power, and this guy was running around sacking all of Rome stuff successfully, and would just like, you like never heard of that historically, so it was
It
pretty
sounds
cool.
familiar to me. It sounds like Hannibal.
No, no, because it was literally someone I had never heard of before, and I want to find that book because it was one of the most fascinating ones because it was all slices like that, and it was like huge epic things that you just never heard of like anywhere else because it was like the old historians, and I used to read those like um oh gosh, now I forget his name, like the Greek one. And so he talked about like when he would go and see the pyramids under construction and what he saw and all that. And I dug reading those like super early accounts of stuff.
Mm. Oh, well, because there's one of them who went along with. I was Alex was saying about Tacitus.
Yeah, I'm not
It was
sure.
Ennead was one.
Yeah, yeah, I read
Uh,
him.
Livy.
It was a
Um,
little after those guys. I'm gonna go find it. It might still be on my books thing. I used to, what's the one, is Google have one? I think it's Google Books where you used to be able to go and grab a whole bunch of that old stuff. You can just go grab whatever and read it. And I'll see if it's in one of my libraries because that was one of the most fascinating ones I've read.
yeah, it's going to say because when you said about this guy ran around and like, tormenting Rome,
Yeah.
and that's what you know Hannibal did for sort of
Mm-hmm.
like a decade. He was
Yeah.
running around the whole of Italy, um, taking them on. Like after his like first few battles as he entered Italy to the north and took on like these councils at Cannae and Trebia and that overwhelming victories, and like his
Yeah.
way of warfare is still studied today, along with Alexander, sort of thing. But even after all those years, and he fell prey to the fact that his homeland basically didn't support him properly.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
if Carthage had basically, you know, thought, oh,
They
let's
probably got
support
jealous of
you.
his power. That's how it always happened. You'd be away
Yeah,
waging war, and people would get jealous, and then they would like,
and then he got called back. He got defeated at Zama by
yeah,
Scipio Africanus, who basically um, Hannibal defeated his father
yeah,
when he first went into um, Italy, and Scipio was using Hannibal's tactics
yeah,
against him. But they never captured Hannibal, and Hannibal after that went off and served as a sort of a general for hire, and
yeah,
even up until they finally tracked him down after he'd been general for this again, like some small
yeah,
country out in sort of like the Middle East sort of thing
yeah,
against the Romans. They tracked him down, and he basically took his own life. So they can't
yeah,
even say that they had they killed him.
yeah.
He just did the job for him.
God, I'm
But
so glad. Like, at least I missed out on all that stuff. Like, I'll take my cushy up. Like, but you read history, and I was like, oh my God, like, how do we? Everyone's always killing everyone, dude. Like, can we take a break for a little bit, dude? Like, I read a lot of history. Like, everyone's forever killing everybody. Can we just chill it for a bit? Like,
yeah,
let me
just
get
calm
my life
down,
in.
people. Stop
Yeah, like.
stabbing each other.
Like, is it really? Like, did you really want all that?
Yeah, but it was like it was the Thermopylae, like
Yeah,
the
for
Spartans
sure.
against Persians sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the reason, like one of the main reasons why there was only 300 Spartans at Thermopylae um, was that the rest of them were taking part in some sort of festival or games, so like
Okay.
Olympics, and they don't fight during the Olympics.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, we don't fight during this. You guys
so
handle it.
they sent all the like all the Spartans who have had kids and
Yeah.
children, and they sent 300 of them along with Leonidas. Um, so they went out there, and they died. Um, and when you,
But
I was listening.
do the Brit is it a British thing to say they gave a good accounting for? Or am I
Well,
just
yeah,
making that up?
well, they sort of, I suppose, helped a little bit because what the reasons why the Spartans died, because at Thermopylae it was like this, as we know, it was like this one narrow point that
Yeah.
the Persian army had to go around, um, but there was another path,
Yeah.
and they were trying
Yeah,
to keep
that's where
that
they got up.
secret,
Yeah.
but somebody let go, oh yeah, there is actually another path around it. And the Persians were, in particular, like Xerxes' Persians were, they're a culture that specialized in forging paths around mountainous regions, or they were from mountainous regions.
Yeah.
Um, so they found the path, And basically, what Leonidas was doing was sacrificing himself so that the several thousand
Yeah,
levies
wouldn't get
who were with
through.
him,
Yeah.
of hoplites and other sort of like amphibians and Onians who
Yeah.
were with him, could get away so they could fight another day. So basically, they stayed and took the brunt and died. Um, so it didn't, it was a delaying
Yeah.
action. But it was obviously what happened after, which was the Athenian fleet in Samos, that did the major damage.
Yeah. I remember that
Uh,
part. Oh, first off, Ryan Taylor, hello, thanks. I had some of your habanero hot sauce yesterday, or some of the one you gifted me. So thank you for that. I'm a big hot sauce fan. And Lee, Mechanical Frog, I believe if I want to say he used to teach history.
yeah.
So I think we should just errantly start saying bad stuff to drive him crazy, like false history. We can do some false, say it. And he's like, I'll be in the comments all typing, trying to correct us. Be like, yeah, that Greek guy, Leonidas, or that Roman dude.
No, I'm agreeing with him there because it must have been terribly frustrating for Hannibal to be undefeated in Italy, only to be called back to northern Africa to defend his home.
Hmm.
Um, which is said he put out requests like, I need support, I need money, because Carthage was a maritime power
Yeah.
before um, Rome came along.
Yep.
Rome started growing, and then they had the First Punic War, which they lost. Carthage lost to Rome, um, and then they had to pay, you know, reparations to Rome.
Yeah.
They lost Sicily, which was one of their sort of major sort of like sort of colony type places. And then they thought, oh yeah, this is really like quite hard. I think we better go to war again. Uh,
Yeah.
and they did. But Hannibal, he did what they didn't expect. Um,
Yeah, that's a yeah, those are like generational type leaders, right place, right time, right tactics, like
but he was like Alexander in the same respect. Like both of them were both young warriors that got to these positions of power through their family. Um, and they stir things up. And as I said, Hannibal still studied at military college, same as Alexander. Their
yeah.
formations, how they won their battles, and all that. Um, but it was just so it must have been hella frustrating. Like they're going around, and the Romans are just like, "No, we're staying in Rome. We're not coming out." And they're
Dude,
going,
all
"We're
I
not.
know is if
We're not a
I'm a
siege army. We're
soldier and
going in."
all that stuff, I'm like, dude, where is some wooded area that I can sneak away to in the night? You guys get them. I got a lot of faith it's gonna go great, and then I would try to bolt. Like, where you going? You going north, or I don't know where you go at that time, but I'd be like on a boat or on a thing. I'd be getting out of there. You'd be like on like a with Alexander, where he's marching and fighting for years, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm not feeling so lucky this like 10th time into battle, sacking a city, man. I'm out of here. Like, I'm trying to skate out in the night.
So you've already got Eutychus saying that like Apollo, the Norse god, Ryan,
Like Apollo defeated
Circe's.
Odin with the Spear of Destiny at the Battle of Waterloo. Exactly like that, Alex.
Yeah,
Exactly like that. That's why I love this show is for comments like that.
funnily enough, talking about Waterloo, I'm actually rewatching a series that was on in the late '90s, early 2000s called Sharp, which is based on
Oh
Bernard
yeah,
Cornwell
that has
books.
what's his face in it, right?
Sean Bean.
Okay, so I've heard that one a few times, and I've seen a couple, I don't know, memes or short clips, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta watch that at some point. That one I
Yeah,
do
no,
gotta watch.
he's really good because what Bernard Cornwell does is he he
Uh-oh.
finds a character like something in history interesting. So like obviously Napoleonic Wars, um, the Viking invading or invasion of England,
Hmm.
and it's all those wonderful characters in those areas. and then he'll choose somebody. He'll make a character who was in the background, who was there at these places, sort of thing. So he's doing it from their perspective. So they're not actually like Alfred the Great or
Yeah.
obviously like Wellington, but Wellington's in there. But this like Richard Sharp, who was like just a soldier, and the way he done it was that he saved Wellington whilst Wellington was on his horse going for a little ride with his horse
Yeah.
from some French soldiers, and as a token of gratitude, he promoted him to like a lieutenant sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then all the stories evolve from that connection because he gets things done, and Wellington uses him as a good general would do.
Yeah.
He's effective at what he does, and he sends him to do all these sort of bits and pieces. So it's a really good. They say Ryan saying Sharp is great, longest running Sean Bean. Yes, he's undefeated. He does not die in Sharp.
Oh, that's like one of the few things. There you go. You can watch a Sean Bean show where he doesn't die.
Yeah, yeah, he gets smegged a couple of times.
Yeah,
Shot, cut
as
to
it
pieces.
happens, as happens.
Yeah, and as Ryan saying, the Uhtred, son of Uhtred, in the Last Kingdom, which is I think it's on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
That
I
is
think that.
actually a really good because Uhtred, son of Uhtred, is a Saxon, but he gets captured by Vikings as they come into the north of England, and he's raised after his father was killed. He's raised by this Viking warlord, and so from Saxon origins, he adopts the sort of Viking ways, but he lives between two worlds because
Gotcha.
he's sort of pulled into fighting for the Saxons against the Vikings. But then he
Yeah,
would team
yeah.
up with Vikings against other Vikings. But he's a really good series, and again, great characters in there.
Huh. See, good to know. Well, there was one, I forget what it was I saw. It's historical, but it was, and I think you referenced it too. The end, what king is it? He was really young, and the ending scene is him fighting this other king in the mud, but he just owns him really quick because the other king was all not a fighter, and this one like was all fighting all the time, and he was like a young, young guy at the time, and then the dude gets off his horse to fight him and is like walking in this mud that he's been fighting in forever, and he just basically like couldn't even like walk right, and he comes up to this kid who, he was a king or whatever, or was it a prince? I can't remember at the time. I should know, probably makes me dumber than ever because it's like a famous historical one.
You,
But
you were selling a great pitch there.
yeah. So if you find that or know anything about it, it's cool.
What's it? Because when you started talking, I thought it was the King, the one with Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, oh, that was it, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. Because it's the same. Because when you told me, I think you were the one who. I was like, oh, I like that actor, and you were like, oh yeah, he's the one who's going to play in Dune. So that is it.
Yeah,
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 the King,
yeah, Timothy
Mechanical
Chalamet.
Frog
Yeah,
said it. Yeah, yeah. So that's why I liked him in that movie because I didn't even know till you brought it up before, but he's the same one in that. Okay, that's right.
yeah. And that was a good precursor to seeing how he would play as a young
Yeah,
Paul
that's
Atreides.
what I remember. That was kind of the first time I remember seeing him was in that King movie, and I was like, oh, it just was. I didn't think about the acting, but it really fit. I was like, hey, this like was cool. And then when I learned that it was him and Dune, I was like, oh, okay, that might be pretty damn cool because I liked it. There.
Alex is mentioning Elvis. Um,
Wait. So the King, what King was that? Who was he, historically speaking?
Henry V,
Okay, it was Henry V. All right.
because like Henry V, which you've got the Laurence Olivier Henry V, which was like, oh, Laurence Olivier
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
stuff. I watched it, and I've watched like the Saint Crispin speech sort of thing,
Hmm.
but I the Kenneth Branagh version in the '90s is still the version for me
Okay.
because it was just magnificent. Again, the acting talent in there, Kenneth Branagh playing as Henry V, Derek Jacobi as the narrator, setting the scenes, sort of thing, and all these like household English actors that are in there as well. Falstaff and all that sort of thing. It was just so well made, and it's just again, it's like one of those sort of like BBC costume dramas, which is
Yep.
going to be quality and have
Yep.
really good acting in it, and they made that as a film with. But yeah, it's just such a fantastic thing to watch. Actually, Mechanical Frog was just saying uh, about I think it was about Uhtred, the Last Kingdom.
Yep.
Fun show, but not super historically accurate, which is
Yeah.
true. The thing I like about that program in particular is that in a couple of seasons, there's like the adversary of Uhtred, which his name just escapes me now. Bugger. But he's based in a place called Burnflit, right?
Yep.
Boemfloet, Burnflit, which is now known as Benfleet in modern days, and is about a mile away over there.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah,
So
that is a trip.
when that
That's what.
came up, because when they showed the place names, they do it in the old English, and then they do a translated version.
Hmm.
Comes out like a couple seconds afterwards. I'm sitting there, I'm going, Burnfleet, that sounds familiar. And then he came up with
Yeah.
Benfleet. Oh my god!
Oh, it's right
Um,
down the road.
yeah, just down the road. And actually, funny enough, those pictures. Don't know if you see pictures I posted up. I haven't done it on. I don't think I've done it on Twitter. I've done it on Instagram. I posted lots of pictures I took this morning. Um, and is of the Thames estuary in a region where a lot of the Vikings that would come into the
Okay.
Thames were hanging around, like Two Tree Island, and
Yeah,
there's a
that's
picture
yeah.
of Adley Castle in the background of one of them as well,
Oh, look
which
at
is
you. Historical photos. Got historical photos too.
well. The place I'm actually at is a place called Fundersley, which is sort of this area, which originates from the Norse for four. It's Thor's field, so
Okay.
it was the field of Thor,
Hmm.
and that was actually a settlement back when the Danelaw was in action over here.
Okay. Yeah.
So because England got split between, if you looked at the map of England,
Yep.
you've got the sort of the neck where Scotland is. It comes down, then it bulges out there where Wales
Yep.
is. Then you
Yep.
got like the little leggy bit at the bottom,
Oh,
and then
so
it
where it
comes back.
bulges out is where Wales is? I didn't know that
Yeah.
because I can picture
So
it like,
where it
okay.
bulges out of Wales, where that connects at the top to the neck, from
Yep.
that point diagonally down to where London is, which is where the rump and the leg meet,
Yep.
all parts north was Danish.
Okay.
Everywhere down, apart from Wales. Wales was Welsh, so the Britons were in there, the original inhabitants of these islands, because the Romans sent them off over there, and then the Saxons just reinforced it,
Yeah.
the Angles. But yeah, basically England got split in two, and so everything north of that was the Danelaw, where all the Danish
Hmm.
were, and below was parts of Mercia, which was one of the kingdoms, and Wessex, which is the last kingdom, which the show takes its name after.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Good deal, dude. See, I learned a lot. That's what this show's all about. Leeching some knowledge, some
Listen,
pictures, some inspiration. I'm just sucking it all up.
but
Perfect.
yeah, so where I actually am, and I think where most of my family originate from, because there was four like kingdoms
Yeah.
before the Danish turned up. So you had Northumbria, you had Mercia, you had Anglia, and then you had Wessex. There was also Kent, but we don't talk about them. Um, but Anglia, out of the four, like Wessex wasn't conquered, but it had got its arse kicked to it a couple of times, but eventually it won and united all the kingdoms. Mercia was pretty much mostly in the Danelaw. and Northumbria was totally in the Danelaw. With Anglia, it was, from what my interpretation, from what I've learned from programs and reading and stuff,
Yeah.
is probably where Danes and Saxons worked together better. They sort of merged, sort of thing. So there was the least amount of hassle came out of Anglia, which is where the region I'm in, basically,
Yeah.
which is the eastern butt of England. Eastern butt.
Oh, if I all I know is if I was born over there, I would be claiming to be some long lost duke or something. I don't know. Can't you claim titles? There has to be all kinds of stuff with bloodlines and all that. Spark that
Well,
up. Start claiming
that's the
something.
thing. It's like I've done like historical things with like
Yeah,
ancestry.com.
you could be Duke Lee, dude. We could have we could have a Duke on the show
Uh,
or something.
on my father's side, I've gotten back to about the 17th century so
Yeah.
far, and then it just gets a little bit like hard, sort of thing.
I'm just gonna
To
claim you got royal bloodlines in you, dude. That's all
no,
I'm
no,
saying. Yeah,
no, it's
I can do it.
un-Anglian, um,
Uh,
but because
whatever. Royal from somewhere. You don't know. Some 6,000
that's the
years
thing. It's like
ago,
you go back
one
a
of your
few hundred years, and most
yeah,
families where they were born is where they lived their entirety of their lives.
yeah, very true.
So out in Anglia, the only thing you can say is like with like Essex, for example, there was the Duke of Essex, who was rumored to be sort of a very close friend of Queen Elizabeth the First.
God.
Um, I think he was also responsible for Buckingham Palace, which seems a bit weird, but I might be getting confused there. But
Uh,
yeah, it
huh.
was. Yeah, we are the wild east of England. Um,
I never been to Scotland. I always loved it. Like the pictures, always it's like the like rocky coast and green. Like it, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh gosh, I always fall in love with those, just that scenery and everything. I was to Ireland. I loved that like around the coast. I didn't get to stay there long, but I did do like a little bit of travel around the coast there and got to see that stuff. And I really liked that. That was cool. Got a proper Guinness there. I feel like I got a life achievement medal for getting a Guinness there. That was good. Um, I
Interestingly
re-
enough, Guinness was
uh,
actually an English invention.
was it? You're not starting some cross confrontational national rivalry, are you, dude?
No, no, it's something that I learned from that history podcast. It was basically a form of making ale a different way.
Gotcha.
Um, was the precursor of Guinness, and um,
Okay.
the Guinness family, who was trying to set up making beer or ale or whatever it is,
Yeah.
um, got these ingredients and replicated it over there. So originally it was something that was
Ah,
made in
gotcha.
England, and they bought the recipe and took it
I
over
should.
and
I
perfected
have
it.
to get one. I'll have to have one here. I do enjoy them. It has to be the right and they're so hearty, dude. It's one of like it fills you up, man. I'll have a Guinness and I'll be like, okay, that's like you're drinking more than just like some light beer.
Yeah, no, you've got like over here, you've got all the real ales as well. So like you got beers, you got lagers. Real ale is the stuff that puts hair on your ass. So like obviously Guinness is a stout, um, but yeah, it's very filling. And
Yeah.
if you drink enough of it, you'll notice that your poo starts going black.
So I
Uh,
couldn't imagine someone getting drunk on Guinness. Oh my God, I'd be so full. Oh my God. Like, do people do that? They might like, or do you have like one Guinness and then switch beers? Like, how does that go? Because I don't see like
well,
I just had six Guinness. You're like, oh my God.
when I was young and foolish and attending the pubs sort of thing with friends from various social groups, we did used to do this thing. It was like a rugby um, thing where if somebody had a pint and you drop a coin into it,
Yeah.
and basically you drop a coin in it, and they'll look at you and go, "You fucker," but they've just sat down with this pint, and you you put the coin in there, and you sing the sacred song of "Get it down, you Zulu warrior, get it down, you Zulu chief, 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 a zumba, zumba, zumba,"
Yeah.
and then you had to down it in one, and once you finished down it, the coin between your lips, sort of thing. And one of my friends, Neil, had just sat down with a Guinness,
Oh,
and you've done that, and he just looked at you, and you go, "I like." The look was, "I fucking hate you."
yeah. Oh my
But you,
God, with a
once you do
Guinness.
the coin dropping, do the song, you got to do the drinking.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh gosh, this made me want a Guinness now, though. Darn it. I do want one.
I'll see you later,
Edicus,
you
you have a
guys.
good one. Yeah, we're gonna hop off here too. I'm gonna go tend to puppy time.
See,
Thank you,
Ryan's got it. Sorry,
Ryan.
sorry.
Appreciate. No,
Right,
go. What were you
right,
gonna
yeah.
say, Lee?
The type of drink is it's a porter, and it was an English porter
Oh,
basically. Beer in the states is chilled too much, in my opinion. But that's you states boys, you know.
yeah.
Uh,
Wait, it's
you come
chilled.
over here, we'll get you drunk in various ways. Don't you worry.
Yeah, that is a bigger thing here. I mean, when I was there, they had it cool, but it is a bigger thing, correct? In the US, it's more traditional to have a cold beer than over there.
Yeah, it depends on the beer. Like certain drinks. It's like with like even like soft drinks. Like
Yeah.
certain soft drinks are better cold, sort of
Hmm.
thing. Um, Certain drinks like are better at room temperature,
Room
sort of thing.
temperature. Okay, yeah.
So like ale. I could sit there and drink like I used to drink Newcastle Brown Ale, which was for a
Okay, yep, I know
while
that
very
one. Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
was very sort of like pop culture.
Hmm.
Yeah, drinking Nuki Brown as we called it. Um, but I did get into other sort of real ales as well, like Bishop's Finger and like
Okay.
Speckled Hen, uh,
The old
Spitfire,
speckled hen.
old Speckled Hen.
Have
Yeah.
a little bit of the old
Oh, what's
speckled
for that
hen.
Bishop's Finger, please? But yeah, no, real
uh,
ales, they're the stuff that really do sort of like, they'll puff you up.
I'm hitting all that stuff on the next AE World Tour, so get ready. Get ready in a country near you. I couldn't get anything cold over in England. Oh,
Lager is like in a bar, lagers are normally chilled. So they are nowadays anyway. But
oh, I'd have
um,
to bring ice cubes. Hit the bar with ice cubes. Like you're putting ice cubes in your beer? Heck yeah, I'm American. Put some ice cubes in that bad boy. Chill that thing out.
it's the Pepsi Coke theory. Taste the same when one is chilled and one is not.
Oh, interesting. Didn't
But
think
no,
about
it's
that.
yeah, it's Coke Wars.
All right, everybody, have a good evening or afternoon wherever you are, and see you next week. Lee is streaming. Check him out. I'm sure Mechanical Frog is streaming often, so stop by his. Ryan, thanks again. I'll be having hot sauce again this week, enjoying it. And when I
Hot
break out
sauce and cool
I'm
beer.
gonna have, yeah. Oh, that does sound good. And the hot chocolate's coming up next. It just got really cold, so it's kind of like the perfect thing, and I'll enjoy it. And that bag is like crazy. So I'm gonna have some of the most chocolatey